Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I'm going to give you guys a basic tutorial on the floor press. This series has been very popular, it's been very well received, so I thought I would go ahead and continue with it. I've had the floor press requested. Now I did an in-depth 16-minute long bench press video the other day. You guys can look at that to get the basics for the bench press. And we're not going to get into the why the floor press on this one. I've got other videos on that. This is just going to teach you guys how to do it and get you to understand that the floor press is used to, number one, remove a leg drive from the bench and to learn to keep your pecs tight. Now, I can personally touch my chest, or depending on how I set up, get within an inch of it on the floor press because, again, of my overall thickness. Most of you guys can't, but I don't want people to freak out and think that it's a partial that they won't be able to build their chest with. The data on the floor press shows that in some cases it can give just as much, if not more, pectoral activation than the flat bench. So it's a non-issue. It's a phenomenal chest builder. Now up front in a lot of these, I like to do a demonstration, and a lot of people feel personally attacked when I do these. They jokingly say that, of how people mess up the floor press, like a noob the first time trying it. So I'm going to lay down here, and those of you who are looking can already tell, who do the floor press, that bar is really low. It's the first indication that something's wrong. A noob does a floor press a lot of times. They do like this. It looks like this. All right, issues. I still managed to use leg drive and use bridging and lift my butt off the floor. The bar is way too low down. I slid all the way down, had to pretty much tricep extension the weight out. Notice I was hitting the floor hard and completely unloading on the floor, throwing the bar back over my face. This is all wrong. So let's set up and teach how to do it correctly. I'm going to take this to an appropriate height. Because like with a bench press, we don't want to have to move the bar very far. Okay, you don't want to press the bar 6 inches out of the J-hooks. Okay, you don't want to do that. You're bleeding energy, you're losing tightness. And if this is an exercise intended to teach us how to be tight, if you start loose, how in the world are you going to be tight? So what we do when we lay down, and I'm going to do straight legs, I believe that's better. Number one, it removes your ability to cheat and use leg drive. Number two, it allows you to create the same natural arch that you would have on a flat bench. Because you don't want to be flat back. Notice my lower back is flat. You don't want to do that. That's not ideal. Okay? It's not ideal at all. You want your chest up a little bit. You want that natural curvature, and you want your chest up slightly. Why? We get better pectoral recruitment at a slight decline. We get better pectoral recruitment, and this lets us get tighter. So when we get over to the bar, notice the bar for me is actually above my throat. Now there's a good reason for that on a bench press. On the floor press, it doesn't matter. Because if you fail the floor press, you can just crawl out from under it. I might throw some plates on in a minute to demonstrate. But with the floor press, we don't want to move it very far. So you get set up, you pull in, okay? I'm still just like a bench press. My traps are there. Scapula are down and back. Just like on a bench. I just have removed the leg drive. We want to be super tight. We want to keep the pecs tight. Okay? So what we want to do, again, like the bench, grip it, knuckles are up. Everything's pulled in tight. Scapula are down and back. My glutes, my legs, and my traps are what's touching the floor, not my back. Okay? Notice I don't have to move the weight very far up. Now we're ready. Now, people say you're worried about hitting the J-hooks. Well, if the bar is drifting back towards your face, that's indicative of a tricep weakness, okay? It's a tricep weakness. So you want to grip it, lift the chest, full lungs, come down, and as soon as the weight touches the floor, drive. Why? Because we get better pectoral activation. The point of the floor press is that we have a terminal range of motion where the triceps touch the floor, where we can maintain pec tightness, and you're forced to control the eccentric at the bottom. It teaches you control, and it teaches you to maintain extremely tight pecs all the way through. This teaches you to use the pecs out of the bottom. But again, drive. Okay, as soon as the triceps touch, it's none of this, because now I've lost the tightness. Okay, my pecs are no longer engaged. And then I'm losing stability. The stuff tends to get rocked back. You get bad joint angles. Okay, you don't want to do that. So deep breath, scapula down and back, traps dug into the floor. Eccentric control. Boom, as soon as the triceps touch. Notice I drive it towards my feet. I'm not driving it up to here. Again, if you're having to do that, take weight off the bar and work on your triceps more. So, and if you are still hitting the uprights, you can always come a hair further down. Look, we can always do this. And we're not going to get into discussion of grip width. We covered all that in the bench press. Explode. 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 But notice there's no way to use leg drive. Even if my glutes come up, there's no real leg drive. And again, you should feel a deep contraction in your pectorals because you're having to use them to control the last bit of the eccentric. It teaches you control, and it teaches you to keep the pecs fully engaged and to use the pecs to explode out of the bottom. This is one reason this is so good for people who stick at the bottom or 4 to 6 inches off their chest. And it's a phenomenal chest builder. Now, people will oftentimes say, oh my God, what do you do if you get stuck? You're gonna laugh. Because I get people who get afraid of that. I throw these 10s on, these 10-pound rubberized, whatever we call these, foam plates. The floor press is the safest exercise you could possibly do in terms of chest pressing. There's no way to tear a pectoral on it, and there's no way to get pinned. And I'm going to demonstrate. And when you see it, people will laugh at how easy it is, because people get afraid. They're like, what do we do? Okay. So let's say you're going, okay, explode. Getting heavy, I'm gonna miss a lift. All right, there is no way the bar can hit you. Look, see? It's above the neck, but look, when you have full plates, it can't hit your throat. Okay, it can't hit you. Let me push it back up and show you guys. All right, if you look and you come down, okay, you could let it dump to here, but that hurts more. Sometimes it's best to just let it come down, all right? It's above your neck. All right, if you have it above your face, because your face wasn't up under the J-hooks, you might hit your chin. But if you have your head to the side, it rolls right under. And you just crawl out from under it. All right, see how easy that is? All right, this is like the safest lift in the world to fail relative to any other thing. You don't have to do the bounce, the roll of shame. You're not gonna tear a pectoral like when you miss a dumbbell. Okay, this is a safe exercise. Your only concern is that if you're stuck so far under that your chin's up and you refuse to move your chin out of the way, when you drop it down, just turn your head to the side. You can't hit your chin. Your face and head will fit completely under the bar. It just comes down and it misses. It might be a little painful on your wrist. You know, you could potentially strain a wrist if you have a lot of weight. Or you could just learn to just let it go. Learn to let it go. Turn your head to the side and slide out from under it. Okay, this is very, very easy. But just like with other lifts, obviously I recommend, if you really want to get the most out of it, belt up. Use a belt, use wrist wraps. Again, because if we're trying to train tightness and we're trying to engage the pecs maximally, belt and wrist wraps. Okay, it'll help us maintain that tightness. It'll give us something to brace our core against. And I think it gets the most out of it. So, I mean, again, well, I can leave the wrist wraps off and just show you guys also the same thing. Put the belt on. Pull yourself up under the bar. And then brace your abs against the belt. Okay, easy as that. I probably should have been a little further under. But again, the belt will lend itself to this very well. Why? Because again, we can contract the pecs harder if we have something to brace our core against. And that's the whole idea. This is not an exercise which we ever want to get loose on. This will teach you to stay tight at the bottom of the bench, and it will teach you to engage the pectorals better at the bottom of the bench. But it can't be this, like I've had a client who had issues with that, and I put him on the floor press and he starts just trying to do this again. It's like you need to control the eccentric. That's the main benefit of it, is that it gives you control that last few inches, and then you reverse it and explode. With a consistent, perfect range of motion, in which you can't cheat, you can't use leg drive, and in which you are required to use the pecs to get the weight moving. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.